Hi, I'm Steve Glaudini, producing artistic director for Moonlight Stage Productions, and welcome to A Conversation with, and today's guest, Mr. James Vasquez.
Hi, Steve.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I miss you.
I miss you too. Tell us what gets you through a day of coronavirus.
Dogs.
Dogs,
Dogs.
yes.
Truly, dogs in my garden. I love your garden. You know, I have daily conversations with your wife,
I know you.
and we are usually out in our gardens having coffee.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see you, but it's also nice to see that beautiful background you have. Gosh.
Yeah, never take it for granted ever again.
Right. Yeah, but truly, my three dogs, who I'm sure you'll hear at some point during this conversation, and the garden, you know, they give me sort of my sanity during this time.
So
yeah, I should say my husband too, right? It's nice to
yeah, you should say
it's
Mark.
nice to be stuck at home with Mark. We're having a good time. So
Yay. So, I had this talk with Larry last week about people don't understand how our industry has really been affected by this virus. Whereas after wars, after 9/11, people had to go to the theater. They rebuilt the theaters because we wanted a place to gather and tell stories. And now we're told we can't.
right.
And to put some realistic, how many jobs have you had that have been canceled, postponed?
There are, well, from a couple places, there are some announcements that are going to be coming.
Yeah.
But enough. Let me say that. I mean, we can say that I am unsure of my directing commitments all the way through next spring. Everything's got a little flag on it and that said, hold tight, we'll see. But I'm hopeful. What I'm grateful for is that we continue to move forward with discussions and with pre-production. And as soon as we are given the okay, then I'm ready to jump back into the room.
Yeah.
I want us all to be okay. I want us all to be ready. But yeah, enough that there's been enough that's been put on hold right now.
Right.
That sometimes I think, oh God, are we going to come back? But I have daily conversations with artists and all that fear goes away because I know we're going to come back. We're going
to come back. It's just, the big thing in the San Diego theater community is when will the audience want to come back?
Right.
Because as artists, we're all itching. We need to be creative,
Yeah.
But what's it going to take to get George and Martha to come and get a ticket? And it's just such an odd time for all of us. Just is. So we're going to talk about some happier things.
Yeah.
So you've been you've been coming to the Moonlight since you were a kid, right?
My gosh, yes. I started going and seeing shows there in the mid '80s, and I had a couple. It's funny because I didn't do anything there. I didn't actually work with you all until Peter Pan and Addams Family, till that summer. What was that, 4 or 5 summers ago?
2016.
Yeah. So, but I had a couple close calls over the years where I had been cast in things. And one summer as a kid, I was cast in something and we had a family emergency. I couldn't participate. Then during college, I was cast in something and wasn't able to do it because another opportunity came up. So I had a lot of time sort of peeking through that moonlight window, wanting to be in the room with you all. But going every summer and loving the shows and watching it just grow and grow and grow and grow and grow.
But how fun for you though your debut, it was in Peter Pan.
Yes.
In 2016 that I directed.
Yes.
And it's fun because you and I are the only 2 adults to play Mr. Smee on stage at the Moonlight.
And I have to tell you, that is maybe the most fun I've had on stage ever. It's up there with like 1 or 2 others, but come on,
Yeah.
from personal experience, it's a blast. And then for me, again, like you, growing up a Disney fan,
Right.
There was the scene where Hook and Smee go and we're in the little rowboat And the first battle with Hook and Peter Pan happens, and I'm sitting in the rowboat as Smee, and Peter would fly over my head. And I remember on more than one night, I would find myself going, and then go, oh, I'm not supposed to do that. You're the enemy.
You're the lovable enemy.
That's it, exactly. Yeah, but I mean, I had the best time of my life going to Neverland.
Yeah. And we had so much, it was like a family because we'd known Misty so long, and of course, Robert and Jill. Yes. I mean, Jill has wanted to fly her whole life, and there was a photo of her when, you know, and I'm flying. It looks like her face is about to split open. She's smiling so big. You could see the joy in her face that she's flying.
That's the one thing I didn't get to do that I have to do before I die. I do want to fly. Yeah,
it's pretty special. It's pretty special. But you were so wonderful. You and Robert had such great chemistry. And,
thanks.
And it was so fun to get to...
Robert Townsend and I are trouble when we get together. So
and that's okay with me. I love trouble.
Yeah.
You guys were you just brought such a great sense of humor and adult, you know, to what could be a Zachary children's show. And the audience just ate you guys up. And,
thanks.
And to get to, you know, it was fun to get Kathy Rigby sets and costumes and, you know, and
right.
Do it up. And
I mean, so, I have to say that's one of the things I do love about the Moonlight is, you know, these scenic and costume designs that come in. We go to New York and we see them on the Broadway stages, or we go down to the Civic and we see the national tour come through, and then we get to play on those sets and with those costumes quite often at Moonlight
and do our vision of the show.
Yes. You know?
Yeah. Sometimes you are married to certain things because of the way the set is, but you know, most certainly you're, which we can segue, your Addams Family, which was the first show you directed for us in that same summer. You had the Broadway tour sets and costumes, but that show was all your own. And you know, you guys put your stamp on that.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I loved it. It was so fun.
Well, and then collaborating with Carl Warden. I mean, he that man's crazy.
Yes.
So you tell him that he's gonna choreograph a bunch of dead ancestors, and he's like, all right, let's go. I mean, we had a blast. You know, and you're right. There were a couple moments that just the way the set was built, you have to use that door, or you have to use that entrance, you know, but there's so many other possibilities at the Moonlight, which I love, you know.
Well, you made Happy Sad. It was so intimate.
Yes.
You know, bringing it all the way to the passerelle and just this moment between Wednesday and Gomez. It was lovely. I mean, you turn that huge, with those huge curtains, and all of a sudden there's a pinpoint, and everybody was having this lovely father-daughter moment. Well, go ahead.
I mean, again, another one of the things I love about the Moonlight is it's so expansive and huge, but also the capability to play these beautifully intimate moments is still there, you know? So you can have these grand scale moments, and then you can take the lens and go right in.
Would you also, there's a little passerby.
There she is.
What I love too is that you find heart in everything you do. It's not just the spectacle, you know, the humor, but you find the heart and you find the truth in it. And because at its core, like you would tell the company, I mean, this is a family, and every family has their kooky grandmother, or, you know, all whatever stuff in their closet, but you did it with such love, and they were so genuine for being so over the top.
Well, you know, I thank you for that, because I do, I think I always try to find the heart in a project. You know, I love what I get to do, and it's so silly what we get to do. And the fact that I got to bring the Addams family to life, it is something you only, you know, you watch the TV show, you read the serial comics, but then suddenly they're there in front of you, and you get to tell that story. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. Come on. So, and I pour all of this into it. So I'm grateful that often shines through. I also, you know, community and family are big themes for me. And anytime I get the chance to celebrate that, especially weird, kooky families, I'm all in.
Well, let's talk about the cast, because I mean, you had David Engel and Terry MacLeod as
Yes.
your anchors, as Gomez and Morticia, and oh, they were perfection.
I mean, David Engel, this is going to make him sound old. I've been watching him.
Old.
He's old. I've been watching that brilliant song and dance man for years, and wanting to play with him in some fashion, either as an actor on stage or as a director actor. And I actually have now had the chance to do both. I got to be with him in La Cage, and then direct him now a couple times. And he, I mean, talk about heart. This man only leads from here.
Yeah.
You know, and then he just sings and dances like old Hollywood, old Broadway, the golden age. So you don't get that much anymore. You don't find the David Engels of the world much anymore.
Well, we say that all the time when you do those song and dance shows. Like, where's the next generation of David Engels?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Then you've got Terry MacLeod. I mean, where to even start with Terry MacLeod? She's everything you ever want. I mean, she is a pro through and through, and she takes none of it. So you're there, you better be ready, and you better be there to work. But again, my gosh, the joy that comes from her working in the room, and the leadership that comes from working with her, and the way she talks. The thing I love about her is she leads shows. You know, she's the leading lady of these companies, but she embraces everybody all the way down to the shortest ensemble person in our lineup, and knows who they are and loves them and wants them to be an important part of the story. And so she finds a way to connect with everybody at some point during the story on stage. You don't get that a lot.
You don't.
You don't get that a lot.
But they were such wonderful leaders. And then, of course, you throw in Randy Hickman and Dustin Sighthammer and Eileen Bowman, and then our youngins with, Lindsay and Nick. And, you know, it was just a really, and some crazy Samantha, I mean.
And Ryan, our Pugsley, this little
Ryan
that we had who killed it. Yeah, no, it was, it's not often that you're given the task to actually look for and find the weirdest people you can find.
And don't forget Corky.
Right. Yes. Add him to the list. Yeah. You know, it truly was an opportunity to steal from Shrek, to get a room full of people in and say, let your freak flag fly.
Yes.
And celebrate it. And that's what we did.
Well, it's so funny because when we talk about the heart and the family, that segues to the next show you directed for us, and that was Lin-Manuel Miranda's In the Heights. And I'm going to toot your horn. Not only did the musical win the Craig Noll Award for Best Resident Musical, you also won for your direction of In the Heights.
Yeah, thank you. When you offered me that show, I never saw it on Broadway. I didn't see the tour. I had friends who were in it on Broadway, and I would go to New York and I would choose to see something else. So and when you offered it to me, I was like, that rap musical. God, do I want to do that rap musical? And I had prejudged it. I went home and I listened to it, and about 0.2 seconds in, it was no longer a rap musical to me. It was this brilliant operetta of this community that I was a part of, so I related that way. But then even beyond that, it is a story about community, regardless of what community you're from. And the music celebrates that, and I've now had the chance to do it twice. After Moonlight, I had the chance to go do it again, and digging in even deeper that second time, and the brilliance of that music, I mean, really got the idea of rap musical out of my brain, because you look at the 3 generations of styles of music that he wrote to celebrate the 3 generations of families, going through it.
You can see why a show like Hamilton wouldn't be too far in his distant future.
Right.
You just saw his skill.
Yes. Yeah. And our cast at Moonlight, I mean, it was a room full of people who were there, who were proud to be there, who were excited to tell this story and share a piece of themselves with Vista and Southern California.
And it was so unique to get to experience in the Heights outside.
Yes.
The majority of the show takes place outside.
Yeah.
And it was so, people were really nervous about it because it had rap, and I had a lot of people, and we'd either send them the original cast album, but then they're like, well, you know, I'm not a Latino. Will I get it? I'm like, can I ask, do you love Fiddler? And they're like, oh, I love Fiddler. I said, may I ask, you're Jewish? And they're like, oh, good point.
Said, no, it transcends. I mean, what I love about the story is it sort of zooms in, the lens zooms in on a specific neighborhood with a couple specific identities, but it really celebrates the idea of community.
And your collaborators in that show, you know, Ellen McMahon, I'll never forget. She says, I'm going to New York. What should I see? I said, don't think I'm weird, but go check out In the Heights. She ended up seeing it twice in New York.
Yeah.
She thought the score just was mind blowing. And then of course, Carlos Mendoza, who did the choreography, and both Ellen and Carlos won Craig Noll Awards for their work. So all three of you, the whole collaboration was celebrated, and it was by our audiences. We had incredible houses. A lot of first timers who'd never been to Moonlight came out specifically to see that show.
Yeah.
And you know, in a theater that really is about family like Moonlight is, it was perfect, James. It was just a really perfect show.
Yeah.
And that
thank you. And you know, good on you all for programming it, because I think audiences are a little afraid of stories that are outside them sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think theater proves time and time again that come in and hear our story, because it's not just for you. It's for you and you and you and you and you and all of us. Yeah.
So many great memories from that piece. So many. And but now we're going to move on to the last show that you directed before this summer, and that was Chicago, that you co-directed with Tara.
With Tara, I did, yeah. Bringing Tara and David Engel back together. You know, that was Chicago was really sort of a lovely, wonderful surprise and gift. I wasn't initially on board with it. There were other people that were going to guide the ship, and as things turned out, I was able to guide it with Tara. And again, I mean, one of the things that blows me away is the talent that comes through these doors, through the Moonlight doors. I mean, these auditions are, you know, because you have to go through every single one of them. But for those of you who don't know, first of all, the number of people we see every year at these auditions just keeps growing and growing and growing. But the number of people who are good just keep growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. And we gathered a group of people. I should say, the team gathered a group of people that was then handed off to me.
And was that the first group?
It was. No, actually not. A handful of years ago, I took over 4 days before Tech, a production of Rocky Horror at the Old Globe.
I remember.
But oh yeah. But you know, this. But I had been in the room with them there. I had been sort of observing with Rocky Horror. This was really like, thump, here you go. They're yours. Go. But what I was so impressed by was, and taken aback by, was, first of all, how they embraced me. And they were excited to have me there. But then our choreographer, Corey Wright, who had done Chicago, the national tour with Tara, he came in and he it was a masterclass in Fosse every single night that he was hosting. And then you had Tara and Roxanne, who played Velma, two Chicago and Fosse veterans who just on a nightly basis, you watched this ensemble of kids, I call them kids, you watch this ensemble in awe of them, first of all,
right,
but then work their butts off to match their level. And they did.
Yeah, and I always say, you have to remember, Tara was starring on Broadway as Velma Kelly on a Saturday, got on a plane on a Sunday, and started rehearsals at Roxy Hart on Monday.
And
years.
And I have to say, but I've seen Chicago multiple times on Broadway and on tour. I've seen multiple Velma and multiple Roxys. Tara sort of, she sort of has the, what's the phrase I'm looking for? She's sort of, you know, she's got them both.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she's one of the best Velma Kellys I've ever seen in my life. And then what she did with Roxy Hart was gorgeous.
And she and Roxanne were on fire together.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, the two of them. And then David Engel again, song and dance in a perfect role for him, you know, getting up there, getting to be suave, sexy, and just captivate the stage.
Yeah, and Regina Levert, terrific mama.
Yes.
Luke Harvey Jacobs, you know, it was, and of course Randall Hickman as Amos.
Yes. I mean the list of people that grace that Moonlight stage, you know, and what I love about it, is these are all authentic folks. You know, these people all come in wanting to tell beautiful stories and give it all on the stage. And honestly, that's what I look for when I'm auditioning and casting a show. You can sing better than anybody, you can dance better than anybody, but if I don't see a spark in your eye that you love what you're doing, and if you don't show me just a little piece of who you are, then I get distracted. You know, I like working with people who come in and are willing to give a piece of themselves and be truthful and share their heart. And boy, that Chicago cast did.
Yeah. Well, that's excellent advice for anybody who's auditioning, because segueing to this summer, because you were opening a show and were unable to be at the open call.
Yes.
So I had to call back for Ragtime as well as my show, which was Cinderella. And, you know, I remember telling you, you know, you had everyone's name, so you knew if there's somebody you knew that you wanted. But I said, it's the singer show. If they can sing and they're telling me a story, they're going to get a call back. And then I just apologized for calling. What do we have, like 150 there for just the ensemble?
I think it was even higher than that. I mean, it was around that. It was like 162 or something like that. But, you know, it truly took that audition, that callback, that Ragtime callback, took me back to my days in New York of being an actor and auditioning. Because it was cutthroat. I mean, I remember lining up for those auditions at 5 a.m. in the morning, walking into a room with 100 other people, and then just going down the line and going, no, yes, no, 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 yes, before you did anything. Now, we didn't do that. We gave everybody the opportunity to sing, but it was like we could have cast Ragtime 10 times over.
Oh, it's the hardest thing because you're cutting people you love.
Yes. Yeah, and people who deserve to be in the show. But
it's only a certain size, and it's, you know, once we know that you all can sing, then hey, if someone can move a little better,
yeah,
because there is movement in the show, you know, all these things factor in, and it's just
and you said something about if you can tell a story with your song, and truly that's what it came down to with these 162 fantastic singers, however many we had. It was the ones who in their eyes you could see a spark of story that just put them over the edge, you know?
And I remember thinking when we ended, that particular day that we ended with the Harlem ensemble.
Yes, yeah.
And it was so joyous. It was so much fun, and the fire and the energy that was coming from those actors was inspiring.
Yes.
It really was inspiring.
Well, I think one of the other brilliant, we could take 3 hours to talk about the brilliance of Ragtime, but I think one of the beautiful things about it is it does celebrate people's stories. And to end our night that evening with actors of color getting to fully be themselves in a story that is about them, it is exciting. And the more and more that theater really celebrates people and their journeys and their stories, the better. You know?
And Ragtime was just, and I was really excited because we had this brand new set that was very minimalistic. It had a lot of rear projection, but it wasn't, I did it when we did it 18 years ago as Houdini, and we had that big national tour set with those big, gates and, and this kind of stripped it back and let it be just about the story of those three groups. And
beautiful.
It's so good. The Terrence McNally book is so strong, and Flaherty and Aaron's score is one of the best ever. That opening number rivals any piece of opening numbers in the musical theater canon. I mean,
easily.
When Bets and I first saw it, we held our hands and we were weeping when they all faced off. And I mean, it's an incredibly powerful piece of theater that I really hope we get to do, because here's the fact of the matter. We had that callback on Tuesday. Not even 2 days later, Broadway was closed.
Yeah, it was that Thursday that Broadway closed.
Yeah. Because I was supposed to have Cinderella callbacks that Sunday and Monday, that following, and then we had to do it virtual.
Well, listen, I mean, I send all energy up to the heavens, because this cast for Ragtime is unreal. So, and it's a story that needs to, it sadly is a story that continues that need to be told.
Yes.
We have an incident in our country right now happening with a young man of color who was killed unjustly. That in 2020, this story still resonates.
Sadly.
Yes.
No, it's an incredible company that was assembled, and of course we lost Terrence McNally to this virus.
Yes.
And we just wanted his words to be heard again, and if not this year, it'll happen next year. But I want to end with, a lot of people texting me and said, ask James what is his dream show to direct.
Oh gosh, that's so hard, because I have had well, y'all know, it's not a secret that I love cats.
No secret.
I tried real hard to get my background to be the junkyard, but I couldn't figure it out in time. So
we thank you.
Yeah, right. And I've had the opportunity to do cats. I think In the Heights has become a dream show after I had the chance to do it. Right. Here you go. This is a true James Vasquez answer. Here's a list of dream shows. I would die to do a production of Annie. Truly, I love Annie. I think it's a perfect musical. And my mom used to get phone calls when I was 9 years old from neighbors asking her to have her daughter stop singing Maybe on the front porch. It wasn't a daughter, it was me. But I would love to do Annie.
You know how important that show is in this house.
What's that?
I said, you know how important that show is to this family, because I married the first Annie in San Diego.
Yeah, that's why she and I are friends secretly. But
yeah. No. and I actually did direct Annie with Andrew McCardle as Miss Hannigan 10 years ago. It'll be 10 years.
And did Betts play Lily?
That was Lily St. Regis.
Yeah. See, here's my pitch to you, Steve. I'd like to do it now with Betts as Miss Hannigan. Happen, Moonlight. Make that happen, Moonlight.
Full circle. Full circle. Annie, Lily St. Regis, Hannigan. Yeah, it could happen. Well, I want to thank you so much for sharing some time with us on a busy, day.
No. Well, yeah. I loved getting to see your face and visit with you. So even if we don't record them and do them for MTV, let's do this more often.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. We love you. We miss you. And we'll talk soon.
I'll see you soon, Moonlight. Bye.
Bye.